Okay. All right. Everybody had their coffee? Everybody with cookies? Okay. So, welcome to another episode of So You Want to Be a Data Scientist. Today's chapter is, well, what is Conda? Well, as you know, this is a workshop provided by Core Labs through us, the KBL. My name is Didier Barradas Bautista. I am a data scientist in the KAUST visualization core lab. And well, my friend Abdul Rafour, he's the other data scientist branch, but we have pretty much a lot of expertise in different areas. Anyway, so in the KAUST visualization core lab, we offer you a lot of materials, different courses through the year. For example, we are very proud of this product here, which is the, it's a little bit strange. Okay, so this here is our YouTube page where you can actually see all the recordings of these workshops and past workshops. This is going to be recorded and put in there. So if you have any doubt or if I go too fast, you can slow me down there. Also, we have our website, especially for the people here at KAUST, but the web page of the YouTube channel is free for everybody to see. Okay. Oh, that was not. Well, let me tell you something about me. To start with, I am not a computer scientist by training. I am actually a biologist. By the way, where are my biologists? Probably all the way back. Exactly. Very good. They're hidden. So I actually started as a data scientist because I went into a little bit of the genomics, then to biochemistry. One thing term led to another, and then here I am as a data scientist. All right. So let me see. Okay, sir, are you a scientist? Yeah. Are you a scientist? Wannabe, okay. Is your research reproducible? That's a very good one. For me, there is like two things that make science powerful. One is that it can predict stuff. The power of prediction is something that has haunted the humanity for many years, right? We want to predict stuff and then be prepared in theory. The other part that makes actual science really important, and if you're into scandals of science, you know what I'm talking about in Stanford, really, is that it has to be reproducible, and you cannot fake data. The thing is, like, if I tell my friend in Colombia, hey, this is 1 kilogram. If I tell my friend in China, this is 1 kilogram, they have to be 1 kilogram each, right? This is the core of science. You cannot say, hey, this is water, and then there is alcohol. This is not the way it plays out, or it shouldn't be. So to start with, in computational scientists, if you're old enough like me, you remember a word called actually dependency hell. It was called dependency hell because in ancient times, you had a Mac, and you have a Dell, and then you have something else, and each system was different. So to install something, it was a complete nightmare. Okay, so in computer science, if I want you to reproduce my code, I should be able to give you the libraries correctly in order to get to the same result. If in my computer, in my HP, there is a 25, I expect that in the Dell and in the Mac, there is a 25, not a 26. So through the years, you probably have heard about Python. Now, Python is very popular, but it was also very, very different across different platforms. And then it became really complicated to install just Python and make things run exactly the same in different platforms. Thus, somebody, Travis Oliphant and Peter Wang, came with an idea. Hey, why don't we kind of standardize how we do something, and then everybody can work pretty much in a reproducible way. And that is Conda. So Conda, if you want to be a data scientist, is going to be one of your friends. At least for me, is like my best friend, because I do everything with Conda. I do all my packaging there. All my software is basically backed up by this. So why would I learn Conda? OK, to start, it works on Mac, Linux, and Windows. You already know, or probably you don't, Windows Word is not the same as Windows in Mac, and there is no Word for Linux. And it could be tricky to pass one doc file from each of these systems. Conda should be good enough in order for you to pass one file from him to them, to everybody. OK? It can install not only Python. That's a very special thing. If you like R, if you like Julia, if you like Scala, if you like Ruby, whatever is your flavor of computing programming, you can install it with Conda. More about it later. OK. So the commands are pretty straightforward. As a matter of fact, we're going to revise basically 3 things: how to create environments, how to remove them, and how to install things on them. That's it. And that's pretty much what you need to know. Those are the 3 main things. OK. And one of the things that I like most is, like, if I create an environment and I want my friend that is in Singapore or my friend that is in the United States to do the same computation, then I can tell them, look, this is the recipe of Conda environment that you need. And then you will get the same 25 that I got at the end of the computation. So that's important. And that's something that is very nice to have. OK, we are going to use a carpentry's material that is not in these 3 things here. It's more like a development lesson, because Conda is not kind of as official as the other basic skills for computation that you need. OK, so first of all, I send you in the morning, as a reminder, links of the web page, correct? You all got it? OK, if you go to the web page, please check it out. There are 4 or 5 spaces that I would like to point out. The first one is this link here that says curriculum. And that one will lead you to the material that we're going to be using. Well, you can check it out. Then for people in KAUST, we have several resources. If you couldn't install your own Anaconda Navigator or Conda, Mini Forge, or whatever flavor you like it, we have still some resources for you. Last time, some of you used ClassHub, and some of you use Binder. OK, you can click in those if you didn't install it. For people that is in Zoom, Halak, you can, if you didn't install things, you can click here in the bottom here, and then you can start also a Binder hub repository. OK. So one thing that I want you to do, because we are a community and you all want to learn as much as I want to learn stuff. So also in the web page, you will find collaborative notes. There is a link there. Please click on it. It will lead you to an Etherpad. These will be notes that you can take, you can share. And it looks like this. It is here for Free Connect. And here in this Etherpad, you can chat with other persons. You can put your name here. If you don't want to put your name, just put whatever you, if you want to be, I don't know, Michael Jordan, you can be Michael Jordan, or you can be Michael Knight, or whatever Michael you like. OK? You can put just your initials or whatever. That's OK. I just want you to know that I like to take these notes here, because I want to know exactly how many are we here and how many are in Zoom. Also, we can chat here, say hello. So if somebody gets lost, they can also come here to the chat, ask around. You can help other students. You can help your friends. OK? Check it out. If you are a morning person, that would be great. So what I'm telling you about this is here in collaborative notes. OK, just click there. and we can check later. Okay. So another thing, I am just one, but you are too many. And now we have BART and ChatGPT, right? So start please one page. If you have any doubt, you can use your virtual assistant, and this is what they meant for, to help you with some kind of question like, hey, I just didn't hear you, Didi. What happened there? I can ask Bart, and then Bart will give you some kind of an answer, and then we can discuss it if it's not the right answer. But please do, because like I said, I am just one. Okay? More on this. Okay. If you already have, just like me, your Etherpad here, you have Bart over here, for example, and then you already have the materials that looks like this, Introduction to Conda. I will be using our class hub here in KAUST. This is something that you must know that is for everybody that's doing some kind of computational course provided by IT. You begin course, it starts spinning. It will start basically some kind of virtual machine, if you want to call it like that. And I will be using this for the lesson. If you already have something like that, for example, the Anaconda navigator, that will be also easy to deploy. You can use the binder hub. So this is the moment we check like how many of you have something already installed Anaconda or Conda in your computers. Everybody has something? Okay, pretty much. So who's struggling to actually launch it? No one from here? Okay. Hopefully no one from the Zoom link. Okay, so mine has just already started. This is something called a GUI. Like this, for example, if you have Anaconda Navigator, you can click in the lab. That one is Jupyter Lab. That is a very powerful GUI, graphical user interface. And it looks like this. So in that one, please go all the way down, and you will see the symbol of terminal that is in there. For example, in mine is just here. Let's start a terminal here. Yes. Oh, okay. So here you have, yes. You have this page. Yes, okay, go down. Here you have, for example, the GitHub. This is the class hub. If you, did you send me the GitHub user? Because if not, there is a good one also. There is this one, this on the bottom, it's called Binder. If you click here in Binder, okay, don't worry. If you reach here in the introduction on page, okay. Different, okay, but does it have this part here? These things, okay, they're in like in the middle. But okay, so are you in the Etherpad? In here? Yes, okay, I will post this here. Good. Thank you, Etherpad. Okay, from there you can copy it. Okay. Then once you have this one here, you can click here in Binder. And then when you reach this page here, go all the way to the bottom, and there is this badge here that is called Binder. With that one, it will start another service. similar to this one that I already have running here. Okay. And then in the front page, basically, you will have something like this. And then you have terminal here. All right. Yes.
I'm not authorized to use.
Because you didn't send me your GitHub user. Okay, go and do the same thing with binder. Okay. Go to this page and then do binder. It's not a very powerful resource because it's very limited, in fact, but it will get you on track. Okay. So at the end, everybody has their terminal open on, well, except for the last persons. Okay. All right. We can continue a little bit with this. There's not much to do. Yes. Okay. So while those things are deployed, like I told you, there is not much to do about Conda because it's meant to be simple. So there is actually something called Conda cheat sheet that you can find very easily using Google. You don't need to even take a picture of this one because the cheat sheet is even better. These are what, in my opinion, are basic commands, the most used ones, according to me. Again, I'm not perfect, could be different for everybody else. But for example, if we want to create a new environment, that is something that you want to do, you just use conda create, and then you add some flags. Okay? It's not difficult. As a matter of fact, my advice to you, for every project that you start, do a new environment. Don't try to create something. Now, there is a rule that I should tell you. One, you never ever install things in your base environment. You always create a new one to install new things. You do not touch your base environment. Why? Because Conda is meant to do isolated environments, so nothing crosses with nothing, okay? Everything must be isolated. And the base environment has to be clean. Well, okay. That's one of the first things that people actually doesn't take care of. They just start installing things and it's all in the base and they are not using Conda properly, neither getting the benefits of it. All right. So I will tell you how. Is one of those commands, it's not here? No, I think no. I went all the way out. Great. So yes. So one of the things that you can do is Conda list, but there is not Conda list here. It's just Conda environment list. It's going to give you basically the list of environments that you have done, apart from the baseline. But anyway, I will tell you how to check how you check for things that are installed inside something. Okay. All right. So if you have already your terminal, you can start doing something like this, which Conda, just to check that Conda is in there. Then you can do conda -- version. Pretty much everybody must have something around 3 to something superior to 4, maybe. If I do it, which conda, it tells me, okay, here's a binary of conda. Nice. Mine is 4.13. Okay. Which one do you have? Same. 3. Okay. It varies because they are going to update it and it's going to be always, it's going to be something that is going to evolve because software basically evolves all the time. Okay. So the last one was Conda help. Something that is very, very nice to have is always like a way to understand what to put. So most of the time you can use Conda help or dash help, sorry, in order to deploy the menu of options that you have. Oops, that's not. Okay. And then move here. Okay. So if you see here, Conda dash help, it will tell me, okay, this is how we use Conda. You put first obviously the word Conda, then you can put all these different arguments that are here. Clean is a very important one because the more libraries you install, the more garbage you are putting in your computer. And cleaning once in a while is not bad. As a matter of fact, it's a good practice. And so on and so forth. Okay, so let's clear this for the sake of it. Now, let's start with the basics. This one is something that is called basically create. Let's create a new environment. So how do I do that? Conda, create. If I don't know what to do next, I can do dash help, if I remember correctly, or help, just help. Create, right? I need to learn to type. Okay, no. Conda create -h. There you go. Okay, so Conda always have these things. You can always ask, okay, what am I doing? Just before doing something, you can always put -h, and it will deploy all the options that you have there. So in that sense, let's start creating something. So if you do Conda create -n, it learn to type. Create -n, and we can put my first emp. Okay, my emp for short. If you type this, it will start actually the process of creating one environment. As a matter of fact, it's going to create something that's called an empty environment. It's going to be a placeholder. It's going to have nothing inside. And once it's done, it will tell you, okay, we created one thing called my environment. If you want to get into it, then you need to type these words here. Okay? As a matter of fact, check it out. I have here something that's called notebook. You should have something that is called base, something like that. So when I do copy paste this, now it changed to my emp. Okay? So what we did now was basically create one Conda environment. It has nothing inside, but it just got created. Now, if I don't want to do that, if I want to go, let's say, outside of that, it's very easy. Conda deactivate. And then you're back to notebook or base in your case. Okay. So everybody fine? I will share the lecture slides later if you want them. I mean, they're ugly, but if you want them. Okay. So let's create another environment. Let's call it my environment 2. Just because. Conda activate. Okay, I did wrong. There you go. What's the purpose of keeping cleaning the base? Very good question. Now I'm going to actually answer that with this. Now we created 2 environments, correct? If I want to know the list of environments that I'm creating, it's very easy. Conda emp for environment list. And this will give you basically the list of environments you have. Okay. Can everybody see this? Is okay? The size? Should I blow it up? No. Okay. So you see here in the bottom, correct? I have my base, which is the one that I'm using now. I just created this one. I just created this one, and we have the notebook here. Now, if I start putting libraries in here, they're going to clash. And at some point, I'm going to get into what is called dependency hell. And everything will fall apart. And then I will wonder, why it's not working today? Why my program is not giving me the same answer as yesterday? It's because all this is meant to be isolated. So for every project, you create a new environment so you don't cross cables and you don't do a short circuit. That's the issue of having clean the base. Because right now, this environment has nothing. They are empty. Okay? For example, we can do Conda activate my M2. Okay, boop, I am in there, but there is nothing. How do I check if there is something? Conda list. And that's it. If you enter into one environment and you want to check what's in that environment, you just do Conda list. And then it will produce a list of things. But in this case, it produced nothing because it's empty. Correct? So Conda, let's install something. Conda install, I don't know, pip. Pip is a package manager from Python. Okay? Yes, tell me. Remove existing environment.
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe something. I was already having this mode.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry. Now just do Conda deactivate and don't remove anything. We will remove it. Yeah, just deactivate. Okay, so we installed something like this. Very easy, right? It will tell you, hey, do you want to install this? As a matter of fact, I will show you again. Don't worry. It's very easy. It's just Conda install and the package you want. Yes, tell me. Okay, what's the difference between Conda install and Conda forge? That's actually a topic that we're going to head about, because Conda, as an enterprise, has different companies attached to them. But for example, Conda has like a default set of libraries that Anaconda company maintains. Then there are other companies that have their own repositories when they have all the libraries, like NVIDIA. Then Conda Forge is basically the Wikipedia of libraries, where you will find pretty much everything and the newest things. So that's called channels, but we will see that in a bit. First, let's get just to the basics. So here, it just created with this simple thing, install pip, okay, inside of our environment 2. Now, if we do Conda list, then you can see everything that it installs. So I will tell you, when I was young, I liked to install things because they were complicated. I went into some not so very legal sites just to crack some games before the age of streaming and everything. So installing all of these one by one would be actually a very difficult task. Now we just did one single line and install everything. This is the idea behind packages installers like pip or Conda or what's the one in R? I don't remember the one in R, but it's like that. There is a lot of packages that you can just put into the environment. Now, let's get out of there. Conda deactivate. And then Conda activate, but number 1. And then here, we do Conda list. There is nothing. Okay? Why? Because these are two different entities. They are not the same. And then here, if I want to install something, Conda install, let's say, Python. Okay? It asks me if I want to install this kind of Python. And then it executes all the different things. Now, please, in this moment, you try to create another 2 different environments. So we have 4 environments. Okay, it can be completely empty, or if you want to install something that you want, like Julia, go ahead, trying to install it. Okay, so that's the exercise. And let's check how are our friends. Okay, all good over here. Learn to type. Oh, wow. People like the afternoon. Nice. Yeah. Yes, please. What happens if you create an environment inside another environment? That's a very cool experiment. Why don't you tell us the answer? Yeah. What happened? Let's say, okay, type the following. Type Conda emp list. Conda emp list. Like I said, for example, I have 4 here, 2 that I created and 2 that were given to me already. The notebook one is the one that was given by IT. Base is the one that they actually are taking care of, though that base is isolated. But what happened if you try to create an environment inside of an environment? It should be isolated, I guess. Yeah, it should be, right? And it gets you an isolated environment, right? Yeah. Yeah. Great. This is exactly my point. It should be isolated always. If it starts like creating an environment that depends on the other environment, then you are slowly but surely entering the hell that I talk about, the dependency hell. Okay. So did you already created 2 more? Okay. Now, if you do Conda list, you should have like a larger list than this one, right? Conda environment list. Okay. Now, Conda create can also do something. Create. You do something like my emp3. And in this line, you can actually add what you want inside of the environment. So now we're going to delve into managing basically the versions. If we do Python equals 3.8 and pip, this then Conda will understand, you want me to create something called my environment 3, and it's going to have then inside pip, and it's going to have Python version 3.8. As a matter of fact, let's do something even way more before that, 2.7. When the community of Python moved from 2.7 to 3 whatever, there were a lot of people crying in the streets. That's a very nice story to read. But okay, let's create something like this. It gets created, and it's going to ask me, hey, do you want this again? Now, question, can you avoid to answering this question every time? Like, it's going to come to the place like, hey, I want to install all of this. Do you want to type yes or no? Well, actually, you can. If at the end of the line that you see over here of Conda create, you do -y, it will basically understand that you want to accept everything that is coming to you. Why don't you try it? Try to use -y. Wow, it's taking a long time. Is this old? Okay. Very old. And very slow. All right. So if I want to avoid this question here, minus y at the end. So I'm just installing now Python 2.7, as you can see here. Here. This was the last time, actually, this was the last update about Python 2.7, but okay, that's something for the ages. So, okay. In this case now, Python dash dash version is this one. Okay. Then Conda deactivate. Then dash dash version. It goes well. And then let's check it out with my M3. Okay. Same Python. Just like that. Okay. So what I have here is actually 3 isolated environments that are not going to fight each other, each of them with a different version of Python. Okay. For my friends that likes biology, you can do the same with R. Actually with Conda. So for those of you that like R, create an environment with R. It's easy. And now we are going to delve exactly in what my friend wanted, channels. Now, let's check it out. Everybody try to find how to install R using Conda. Let's go. Try to find how do you install R in Conda. You can ask Bart, as a matter of fact. Let's see what the artificial intelligence says. All right. All right, excellent. Pretty much easy, right? You just go and start installing things like Conda install rbase. Now, there is another way, if I recall correctly. Install R. Here. There you go. So here, as you see, there is a C in the middle of things. Now, I was telling you about Conda Forge, and these are channels. What is a channel? Conda Forge basically is Wikipedia. There is a lot of libraries that everybody uses that they are just there. But some enterprises or some groups have like a very specific type of libraries that they maintain. Case in point, the R people. R is a very powerful tool to do statistics. And then if you type this one, then you can install R. Now, let's go Conda, create. And in this case, we can call it remp. And then we can try to specify, okay, do this. And then R essentials. It's back. It's okay. Now, if I try to do this without the C channel, it will fail. -n before everything, or it should fail. Because I'm not telling Conda where does it has to look. Basically, the channels are just telling them like, oh, it went through. So it's in Conda Forge. Ha! Didn't know that. So the thing is like, the first thing that Conda is going to try to look for is basically, okay, is it in Conda Forge? And if it's not in Conda Forge, then I cannot bring it to you, correct? In this case, it went through. It's part of the things that are in there. However, even Conda actually asks for you to specify the channel. Okay. One of the things that I do know that you have to specify is, for example, the NVIDIA channel. If you're going to use something from NVIDIA, you need to actually just put -e NVIDIA, and then it will go through. For example, PyTorch or TensorFlow, they need their, well, TensorFlow is actually in Conda Forge, but you know, the good practice to do this is basically go and say like, okay, you have now this one. Let's create another environment. Let's call it my emp4. Now you put C here, Conda Forge. And then let's try Python equals 3.7. Yes. Okay. So it goes like that, and then automatically goes to Conda Forge. So this kind of step is going to be very fundamental for you if you want to use GPUs, and then you need to install CUDA toolkit or stuff like more advanced. So you just have to tell Conda like, this is the channel that I want you to do. In the case of R, they have their own channel, and they should maintain the libraries like at the best level there, or the more recent there. And then you just create stuff. Okay? Conda env list. And I have my R environment, and then different environments. Okay? So we created a bunch of different environments. Fine. Okay, so how about 5 minutes break? Is it that okay with you? All right, let's get some coffee. In the meantime, let's check out our friends over here. Okay. Can I use R in a Jupyter environment? Yes, you can check it out. There is a way to do it. Basically, you have to install the kernel in the Jupyter notebook, but yes, you can use R in a Jupyter notebook. Now, Rapids. This is a very good example. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the channels, for example, this software here called Rapids, it is created by NVIDIA. So they don't put the libraries into the Wikipedia. They are just basically isolating themselves. So they're developers working the libraries without the intervenience of anyone else. Nobody intervenes in their development. So, for example, when you want to install Rapids, which is something for the GPU, you have to go all the way and put this here. Okay. So Conda create is the same command that we have been doing, just to create something that is going to be named Rapids. Now, you have to tell Conda, okay, look for the channel of Rapids, because they are basically isolating their software, so you will not find them in the Wikipedia. And then, because this has actually a hierarchy, it will look into the Wikipedia, which is Conda Forge. And at the last step, it's going to go and try to find the NVIDIA libraries. So each one of them is isolated. And this is why the channels are important. One, they are hierarchical. They have an importance. So if you put first Conda Forge and then NVIDIA, it goes and search for things in Conda Forge and then in NVIDIA. If you do the other way around, it starts the other way around. Yep. This one is for GPUs specifically. If you are using a Slurm script. Okay. I will tell you that in a minute, because that actually is into, okay, let's do some self-promotion. We here at KAUST, we have something that's called KSL repository in the form of a KSL how-to. Here we have how to run stuff like that one. For example, if you want to run server code or, I mean, just like what you want to do, we have the examples here with a Slurm script, and then all the steps intermediate that are going to connect the Slurm thing with your environment. As a matter of fact, we have here how to, where is it? We have here, for example, all the steps that you have to do in order to launch something with your own Conda. For example, here, you're activating basically Conda by exporting where the Conda is and telling the system like, hey, in this part here, you will find the environment that I want to work with. And in this part here, it will activate it. Now, okay, so self-promotion too. Then please come to this. Okay, so we have more workshops coming. One of them, the one that you're interested, is data science onboarding KSL platforms. So if you're here in KAUST and you don't know how to use IBEX properly, or you are just starting to use IBEX, please come to this workshop, because then we will give you all the tools that you will need in order to work with IBEX and your Conda environments or things that such. For example, I am in charge of the machine learning module. So if you don't need anything else, the machine learning module has PyTorch, has TensorFlow, Rapids, everything that you need. And you just need like 2 lines to activate it. And then the world is yours. Well, unless you have these problems of IBEX is down like today, then you could use IBEX if you check this out. We in the YouTube channel, we have already the video of that one, as a matter of fact. And we have also the links to this KSL how-to. Everything is in the internet these days, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so all these questions that you have about HPC, Slurm, and IBEX, we have some answer for that, and we are improving on that. Okay. So let's get back to this one. Let's ignore this one for a moment. All right. So we have a lot of, let's clear this. And then Conda environment list. Okay. So we have here different environments, Conda, activate, REMP. If I want to see what is inside this Conda list, it's more than useful. If I want to see something more specific, could be, I don't know, make. And then I can see exactly what version I have, what build, what channel. So this is important information because sometimes you need to know the version that your coworker is using. And sometimes this built-in can be very important. Why? Because people is basically developing libraries for Linux, Windows, and Mac, and they're not the same. Sometimes they are not the same. Most of the times, I should say. Okay? Anyway, so now that we have a lot of things, we can start now remove things. Now, let's say Conda help. Okay. What do you think is the command to remove stuff? Remove. They were not trying to make things complicated, right? You just have to remember a little bit of English, and it will come to you. So in this case, Conda remove. Oh, wait, let me go out. Conda deactivate. Okay, once, wow, Conda deactivate. I was without deactivating too many things. Okay, now. Okay. Now let's just do Conda remove. And let's say help. Help. And here we can see that we have a lot of different things. The most important one is to say, okay, I want to remove what or from where. Okay, so it's the -n. And then the other one that you have to basically be aware is what you want to remove. Because it could be either you remove the whole thing or you just remove a part of that thing. For example, Conda emp list again. So if I do Conda remove -n my emp, it doesn't understand what's going on. It's like, hey, what? So the cure for this is very simple. That's just all. And then it proceeds to remove the whole thing. This is how you remove a complete environment. Conda m list. Okay. There you have it. There is no my emp anymore. I have the other ones, but this one wasn't eliminated. Okay. Now let's do an exercise. I want you to do one environment that has 2 or 3 libraries. Let's say Python, pip, and I don't know, scikit-learn. For example, Conda create -n to erase. Erase emp. And then you do, I don't know, -c, Conda forge, in the middle, a hash. And let's do Python, pip, and scipy. Okay. It will take a time, yes. But in the meantime, there you go. In the meantime, I can tell you another idea. Like I said, yes. Whatever, because we're going to remove stuff. This is just to show how to remove stuff. Now, like I said, there is something that can actually accelerate stuff. If you see here, our friends from Rapids actually are telling us, hey, this thing here, you can use it. This dash solver equals libmamba. What actually is doing is to tell, hey, Conda, you know, there is something that runs faster that can do things in parallel. Use it so we can go faster, right? So if we add that to most of our creating, it should go even faster. Thanks for the guys at Rapids. that came up with this. And then let's call it erase environment 2. Ah, doesn't love it. Okay, so then what we can do, fortunately for most of the time, that's strange, is to use Mamba. So Mamba is basically this thing in disguise. Some of you might not know it, or some of you might not have it, but it's basically a wrapper or a pseudonym for Conda. And then it will just start like this. So this one, Mamba, is advised when you have to install like 1,000 different libraries. It's going to take a long while. Now, the thing with Mamba is that it saves a lot of the things in a cache. What does it mean? That it will have the same thing actually available for later. You have to rebuild it because something went wrong or something just crashed, then Mamba will do it faster. And you see, just in the moments I was just talking, it was done. Okay, now let's do the following. Now let's remove it. But from this guy here. Okay, like this. It's taking its time. But okay, the whole idea is basically this. You have Conda, then remove, then you tell where you want to remove stuff and what you want to remove. Sometimes you just want to remove one part, something that you just recently installed, something that is not longer used. And then it will just proceed to uninstall. So if you do --all, it will erase the whole thing out. For example, why don't you erase already some of the placeholders that you already did? The first 2 environments that you did has nothing. So it should be easy to remove. Try to remove them already. You don't need them anyway, while this thing is actually working. There you go. So once I want to remove pip, it's telling me, hey, I will remove all of these guys. All right, remove them. That's okay. That's what I want. If you installed Mamba, you just change the name Conda for Mamba, and that's the same thing because behind the scenes is the same command. And there you have it. So if we go even to Conda activate erase, what was the name? Conda list, Conda activate here, and then Conda list pipe grep pip. There is nothing. Okay. So use remove wisely. You can either remove the whole environment if you don't like it for some reason. Sometimes it's faster just to rebuild the whole thing out of scratch. Or you can just remove one thing that it was breaking your environment. Or maybe it was an older thing. It's up to you how to use it. But use it wisely. And most importantly, do not erase your base environment. So things with base is untouchable. Okay? There is that. Now, we have several people that is complaining that, hey, I'm running out of space. Why? This is why. Because Conda and Mamba, as you see, they have the tendency of saving things in your computer and not telling you about. That is basically the cache. So from time to time, do Conda clean. That's just all. Yes. Because this will start removing stuff. You see? Here, what Conda is telling me is like, hey, I had like 330 megabytes already installed it, but not used. So this thing here is actually affecting your work most of the time, because your space probably is just getting eaten away by these things that you're not using. So from time to time, clean. Because if you don't clean, it's a mess. So this is one way to do about things. Okay? Right? Were you able to remove stuff? Yes? Most of you? Yes? Excellent. Yes, tell me.
What is how Conda considers that some package is not for some period of time?
Okay. No, what I mean by that is like this is basically getting stored in your computer. And then it's not telling you, hey, I have this installed in your computer. And it's just sitting idle there. The installation was completed. And they are tarbles, and they can be different other things. Basically, they are tarbles, as you can see in the first line. And those are hidden from you. So if you are a Conda user and you don't know that it's basically hidden these things on your computer, you're just losing a lot of space. Because this can get really, really big, up to gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes. So you can reclaim some space. Yes? If you shut down, I mean, do you want to shut down the process, or you're just deactivating? If you are running it in the background, no, but it depends. I would guess that if you do Control-C in the middle of installing things, it will just kill things as usual. But the activation and deactivation of environment basically is not something that you can break in the middle. Either you activate something because you're just calling like, okay, now this is your directions, and deactivating is just going back to where you were. Okay, if you're running a Python program inside of an environment, for example, and then you just put conda deactivate, that's a very good question. I think it will kill it, but I'm not sure. Because usually the Python program ends before that or crashes before that. Could be. Okay. Now, we are pretty much far into what we have seen working with environments and using packet channels. Now we can go into something that I like, which is sharing the stuff. Yes, tell me. Okay, so there are two things. If you want to erase an environment, you use remove. If you want to release the space, then you use clean. So the thing with clean is that it takes away all the hidden things that Conda is actually putting in your computer. But if we want to erase that one, I'm still there. Okay. So you can do Conda remove -n r dash all y. And this will completely remove that environment without even asking me. It will just go through the whole thing and erase it. And then if I want to run this in the background, I put the ampersand there, and it will get done. And it will not bother me all the way until the end. Okay? Now, sharing is caring, right? Okay. So I remove already my environment from R, which was weirdly done because it went from the Conda Forge thing. So there is also Conda export, if I recall correctly. Okay, let's go into one of these. Conda, which was it? 4. And 4. Learn to type. There you go. So if I do Conda list, I can see inside what is in there. So do you think it will be practical to pass somebody this? Like if I pass to my friend, like, hey, this is what I use. Do you think he will be like, oh, super thrilled, like, oh yeah, now I have all the functions there? It was like, no way. It's like, do something for me, something difficult, something different. And then if we go here again to help, we have Conda. Where is it? Compare, update, upgrade. Okay. Usually we have Conda list. Not here, curious. Conda and export. Should be like that. So here the keyword is to tell you like, hey, my environment, I want it out. I want some kind of output that is basic, that is good, and is comprehensible, readable. So in this case, the name export here, it will take all the things that are inside of your computer, inside of your environment, sorry. And then it will tell, okay, this is the name of your environment. Yes. This is the channels that you use. So basically it went to Wikipedia and then to defaults that we have. And then these dependencies are basically all the packages that goes along. But if you see here, we have some kind of problem. It has something that I don't like. And actually something that it will become very, very difficult for you when you're sharing things. If you remember, if we do Conda list, this information in the upper part and this information in the lower part matches. In what sense? It just joined them with a equals to, and then it goes forward. Now, the thing with the build, like I said, is very specific. This one is specific for Linux. If I gave this one to somebody with Mac, it will not run. If I pass this to somebody with Windows, it will not run because this is very specific. So how we get rid of that one? Very good, very simple. We go here, we ask for this, and then we have this keyword here, okay? If we add -- no builds, then something different will happen, okay? So go inside of one of your environments, try already this, and add the no builds. Okay? You are here. What is Conda Forge used for? Okay, like I said, it's basically a Wikipedia of libraries. Yes, Mamba is basically Conda is pretty much the same and is faster and use kind of less memory. It is something that installs things in parallel. And in this case, should work the same with this thing. It gives me exactly the same thing because behind the scenes, Mamba is the same thing. So if I do Mamba environment export, learn to type, no builds, then this happens. If you compare this one, okay, let's take this as an example. So if you compare the upper part with the lower part, we basically get rid of things like this. And this is something that is more readable for everybody. Now I know from exactly what version my friend is using. So I can search in my OS for the same version. That should work pretty much the same. And then when you try to build the same thing across different platforms, it will build the same thing without a problem. This is the kind of things that you have to do in order to make science reproducible. Lower down the complexity, so the barrier is not that high, and then you can just share it across different places and people. Okay. Even so, even better, we can do this. Is export command the same required? Okay. So requirement txt file, somebody's using pip, is similar, but here actually what we are doing, this is called a YAML file. And as a matter of fact, this was the next step. If you do Mamba export or Conda export, you usually pass it down to a different file for basically for the convenience of everybody. Everybody uses environment .yml or YAML file. And then it creates that YAML file. Let's go over here. And you can see here is my YAML file that my computer actually recognizes. The YAML files, well, this is not it. Where am I? Here. This is it. So the YAML file is an editable file that every single text editor can read. And you can take away, for example, this prefix. It should be something that you should do because this is pointing to somewhere in your friend's computer. So we get rid of this. Let's check it out. Hey, where are you going? So we erase this part here. We can even change this name to something like null or whatever you want. Save it. And then this is the thing that you can share. But because it's very easy to share and it's easily to read in every single platform, the YAML file is the preferred way to do it. Now, if you're using pip, then you can use basically something that's called requires.txt, which is the same idea behind it. It's a recipe of things that the computer has to go and install. So this is very human readable. I like it. But how do you use it? Right? Once we have this, well, let's put this back. And if we do this and check it out, we check it out. I don't have that last line of prefix. Okay. So in this case, let's do the following exercise. In the notes, you already seen that you have to do some folder. Let's do one folder, name it whatever you want. And then we will do something cool, which is Conda emp create. Okay. These are the 3 keywords. Now, by convenience, or by, what's the real word? By agreement of the international community, the YAML file is the file that you want to use to export Conda things. And then to name your environments, usually, to name your YAML files, usually is environment.yaml. But nothing stops you from calling your YAML file, I don't know, my environment for R things, or my environment for machine learning. Okay. It's convenient that everybody uses environment.yaml, but sometimes you have like several YAML files and you want to know what they have inside. Then it's better to put a very clear name, right? Like this is environment for, I don't know, geometric deep learning. In this case, we just call it environment. Okay. So we can do something clearly. So you can use -p. That -p is called a prefix, or basically is going to point to a folder that you can do, or you build. In this case, could be my folder. And by agreement also of the community, usually you do a folder and you put an M folder in that folder. So all the libraries goes into that. Why? Because then it isolated even from the even from the system. So the environment can be basically put in a tar and sent to another place, if the other place also have the same running operating system. And then you can use file -f. And this command, my friends, is basically what I want you to show. With that command, Conda goes and tries to create in the folder a new thing that is called emp using the file environment. So your file can be named whatever you want. It's very advisable that you have a folder for each different environment, so it gets isolated. And you can work independently. So isolation is good in this case. Goes like that, takes its time, but it's trying to find those ones again. Okay, it goes like that. All right. After this, I think you deserve another break of 5 minutes, because I know this is heavy, not super dynamic. Waiting for something that is built is actually patient-wise very demanding. Okay, so go get some coffee and some cookies. Mm-hmm.
Then why it's showing me the version?
It's just actually asking you, hey, we have a new version, but it doesn't affect you if you don't upgrade.
And then I activate.
You can write this to activate, yeah. You control copy, control paste, enter.
But I have to delete this one, right?
Yes, just that one.
Mhm.
Go up, control A to go to the beginning. Are you?
Mine.
Sorry, 1B missing.
Oh, because there is two.
Oh my gosh. Okay, control A. There you go.
Okay, so if I want to create a folder inside my environment, I add this command.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's recommended that you create a folder with a /emp just to isolate things, just in case. That in the clusters is kind of a big thing, because sometimes things get erased from the base environment, and you basically can rescue some environments like that. It depends.
For the environment, it is recommended to, for example, I'm gonna use R and Python. I make one environment for R and another environment for Python, or it is fine to.
I will keep them separated, but it depends on you. If you want to put them together, it's up to you.
It is recommended to.
I mean, it's a matter of choice. Do you like red or black? Yes. What's up?
Bueno, tengo una pregunta. Yo quiero crear una copia de este environment para poder testear e instalar otra librería, porque en esa librería me dicen de pronto si crea un environment por completamente nuevo, porque puedes crear incompatibilidades. Pero si lo hago, pues no puedo usar todo lo que necesito en mi environment. Entonces quiero testear si puedo tener las dos y generar el mismo resultado.
Ok. Hay una opción que se llama dry run. Puedes hacer un dry run tratando de instalar las nuevas cosas o puedes crear una copia.
Ok.
De hecho, ahora lo puedo mostrar si quieres.
Okay.
Porque
Entonces,
una opción es la copia y la otra es el dry run. Dry run solamente trata de ver si no hay ningún conflicto.
Ok.
Ok. Cool.
Me sirve la...
Yeah. Sí, exacto. Yes. What's up?
Will you put this on YouTube?
Yeah, for sure. Everything is in YouTube. Even the last 4 years are in YouTube. Yeah, yeah. Do you want to be featured in the YouTube channel?
No, actually, I missed the first part.
Ah, yeah. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yes, it's all in YouTube. This is the importance of the YouTube channel.
Alright, so do you have a special channel?
Yeah, the KBL channel. Look, I think I didn't send that, but if you go to this page, Wikibiz KAUST, you will find our YouTube channel.
Alright.
It's everything in the wiki. Since you are here in KAUST, you have access to this wiki page. Sorry.
Okay.
And we have all the things there. There is one data science tools tab. You can find everything there. Even the YouTube. Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No problem. Yes.
I have like YML and I put the name like let's say environment file.
Yeah.
And I tried to
haha.
create it and it's with no name. And it created it with no name.
Exactly.
How do I remove it?
How do you remove it?
I couldn't.
Excellent question.
I couldn't remove. I tried like it's just space and.
Nice, nice. That's a good one because now Conda and list. Ahaha.
Yeah.
You see? Okay. I will
show it.
I will show it. Yeah, it's a good opportunity. Oh no. Okay, so everybody went and created this one, right? They all created one thing that is inside of a folder and has no name. Is that correct? Okay, so try to remove it. Already one of your colleagues tried to remove it, and he did not succeed. So any takers? How to remove it? Yeah, as a matter, you should be doing this. It already says here, how do you activate it? Conda will tell you how to activate your stuff. So you just have to copy paste it. You copy paste this, and now you're here. Obviously, it gets longer now because it's just telling you, okay, I have a Conda environment pointing towards this folder, okay? And of course, it puts no name because now it's just like the direction is that one. So in order to remove it, you have to point to that direction. Let's Conda deactivate this. And then you can do Conda remove -p instead of -m. -p is basically for you to give the direction of the folder. It could be anywhere else. Right now it's here. We can put this. And then if I press enter here, it will fail. Right? Because I'm not telling Conda what I want to do. As a matter of fact, I have to tell him like, just remove all and don't ask me. I want it gone. Apparently, it was very, very, very quick. Okay. So let's go back. I want to use Mamba now instead of Conda. Can I use Conda packaging replit platform? If you cannot use Conda, you could try Miniforge or Mini Conda. It depends on you. But in theory, you should be able to do it. Unnamed person? Okay. All right. He didn't love that part, which is why remove minus RF. We end up removing this. Of course. Hey. All right. So far so good. You already have in your hands like how to create an environment, how to remove an environment, what is a YAML file. Now, there is some other option that I wanted to talk because it came to my attention. What if I have already a working environment and I want to install something, but it might affect my environment. I'm not sure if I should install it. I don't know if it will be successful in the first place. So let's do something like that. So you have two options there, right? Either you create a clone of your environment, which is fair. You could do that, right? And then just try to install the thing on the other environment. But then you can do something like this. Let's do Conda activate in this erase amp here. Conda install, I don't know, matplot lib -c Conda forge, and then -- dry run. If I recall correctly, it's dry run like that. So if you actually want to just test if your environment is going to be built, or you want to install something that you're not completely sure it should go inside of your environment, you can do a dry run. This is something, for example, other installers doesn't have. That is like, okay, I'm going to try it, and if successful or not, I will tell you. Okay? So the dry run is something that I actually like and I use a lot because, for example, here, I just try to install something here. Conda install matplotlib, Conda forge, blah, blah. Okay. And then I am just trying to install matplotlib. And it brings all his friends with him. And then, you know, the following will install, okay, fine, all the different things, but it installed nothing. It just tells me like it was successful. That's fine. Then I can proceed. It might take time, but it's safer that way. So I don't break my current environment. So for example, one of the things that you have to do before installing anything in your computer, usually what is? Backup. How do you back up your environment? Export it. You do Conda m export, create your YAML file. You have a backup list. Okay, before you do anything, you do that. Then you can try a dry run. And it's like, okay, it will take time, sure, but it will be safer. And then if you're really, really into that and it passed already the test, then you take out the dry run and you install the things. Very easy. And it's like that. So for that question of you having like a very, very big environment, and then you want to do something on the side of it, but you're not sure, a dry run is a good place to start with. it was this command. If you go here, you just add -d or -- dry run. It will be exactly the same. And it will start, it will just test the things, and it will go and it will tell you either there's a problem or not. Okay? Pretty much that's it. And of course, you can check it out also with Mamba. So it works anyway. All right. There you go. Summary. That's 200 megabytes that is going to be basically taken into my computer that I don't see. So again, Conda clean. Never install things in your base. Try to do these things using export, using the backup, okay, using dry run. All right. So pretty much that's it. I cannot teach you any more about Conda except like more complicated stuff to do with one command line. But if you saw the process, it's like you create one environment, then you go inside of the environment, install things, whatever you don't like, you can remove it. If you want to share it with somebody else, you export. And then if you're not sure if it's going to be successful, you do a dry run. And that's about it. That's basic Conda. And that's all you need to do and all you need to know. Okay? So pretty much, if you have another questions, raise your hand or tell it to me so we can share it with the group. If it's anything but useful to you, I'm thankful for your presence here. So that's it. That's the Conda workshop. Very easy. Yes. If you have an environment in a different computer, let's say a Mac to a Windows, always export with no builds. Do the YAML file with no builds. And you will have all the list of things, and then you will just run in another computer and try to install the same thing. Try is a very underlying word because not all the libraries will run, for example, in a Mac, because the Mac doesn't have GPUs now. So that kind of thing. But if you're going to share or you're trying to basically transplant your environment from one machine to the other, then Conda exports and no builds. Okay? This is what you want. Right? Anything else? How was the coffee? I know that face. Okay. Yes, another question. Tell me.
But it is installing the so I don't know this is a common problem.
So should you work only in the terminal? Well, as somebody that lives in the terminal, I always say yes, you should always be in the terminal, but it depends on you. There is another way to create Conda environments, I think, is in the Anaconda Navigator, but I never use it. I always use the command line just because it's safer. And because the Conda cheat sheet, this guy here is always telling me to use basically the terminal, the command line. This works even for Windows. I mean, it's the same process. Conda something. Conda install, Conda remove, Conda export, Conda mlist. It's just a matter of you remembering things, but I will always choose the command line because I'm that old. So if you have a newer way to do it with 2 clicks, it will be cool to know. But that's my way. I would say this is the way. So, okay, anybody else? Yes. Okay, so if I want to remove one specific package in my environment, yes, we went over there. You do Conda, remove the name of the environment, let's say emp, and then the name of the package. That's about it. If you do -- all, it removes everything. But if you tell it like, I want to remove pip, then it takes only that package out. That's it. Depends on you. Yes?
I have a Conda environment and I install some packages using that packages will be also using the environment.
If you're using pip as a part of your installation, yes, it will appear. As a matter of fact, we can check it here. Let's say pip install, I don't know, some idea. SciPy. Of course, when you're working with pip in this context, you always need Python -m. So the Python that you're using is the Python of the environment. If you do not put this before pip, it will try to install it globally instead of locally into the environment. Okay. Yes, learn to type. I'm sorry. Already. Okay, another package. I don't know. Okay, NumPy. Also satisfied. Okay, I'm running out of packages in Python. Any suggestion? All right, let's do Conda remove. Conda remove -n this environment, and then NumPy. Okay. Let's just do that. And then I will try to install it with pip. Okay. It takes time, so you always have to have coffee for these kind of things. Or something like gum. I don't know. Whatever you like. Let's see over here. It's easier in the Anaconda navigator. Yes, it could be easier in another things. Yeah, I can share the materials and files later. I mean, the files are already in the internet. You can check it out. Material, well, you know. Of course, you can see this again in the YouTube channel. Okay, that's it. Good. Now, Python install NumPy. Okay, there. Okay. Finally. So one thing that I don't like about pip is that historically it will try to install no matter what, which actually leads you to dependency hell. But you know, this is why I like Conda. Conda imp export, no builds, and there you have it, pip. You see? It includes everything already. As a matter of fact, you can do it more complicated than that. You can put here the requirements txt that one of our colleagues was talking in the chat, and it will try to install everything with pip. I do not advise to use only pip. Why? Because historically speaking, pip is one of those things that was a very good intention, and then it develops into a amorphous monster. What I meant by it tries to install everything no matter what is because it really doesn't have a good dependency matching thing that Conda does. Conda checks that there is no conflict. Pip sometimes doesn't check that well. Okay? But yeah, anything that you can install with pip, it will be put in the YAML file. And you know, it's useful because there are packages. NVIDIA likes pip rather than Conda for some reason. They love it. And so you can install everything from NVIDIA with pip. Could be a good choice. It's a matter of choice. Do you like red or do you like black? Right? Okay. Any other question? No? Maybe? If you have further questions, yes, tell me. Oh, well, yeah. What you're doing in the notebook is basically a magic command that is invoking the terminal. So when you do exclamation pip install, it's doing this. It's basically calling, hey, I need this command in the terminal. Run it, please. So it's called command magic because it basically invokes something that is already in the shell. But it's basically the same. So however you feel more comfortable installing things. Okay, so that's it. If you have further questions, don't doubt in dropping an email. You already have my contact. If not, you can always search for me around the internet. My name is in there, like everything else. So, well, there you have it. Now you're a Conda expert. You're closer to be a data scientist. Okay. Yeah, you cannot access the wiki from outside KAUST. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, well, why? When do I install with pip and when with Conda? Shahad, you should always try to install first things with Conda. And second, if you cannot install it with Conda, use pip. But Conda is agnostic. Pip is very specific to Python. So you cannot install everything with pip. With Conda, you might be able to install more than other things, like Julia, for example. I like Julia. Okay. Yeah, if you have time, please check out this and check the form that we have here. It will actually help me to check what are you thinking, what are you feeling. I know that there is no how to rate the coffee, but please fill out this form. It's here in the Etherpad. Just a couple of minutes for you, if you can, please. And with that, we can close this workshop, if you like. I don't know if there is more coffee. I know there is no more cookies, but you're free to go if you want. Okay, thank you. See you later.